It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 560. Tonight I'm joined by Ace.
Hello.
Ammo.
Hello.
Kodra.
Howdy.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hi there.
So last week we talked about the Path of Exile Mirage League reveal, and it started on Friday, and I got a significantly late start, so I'm not as far along as I normally would be, but I personally really like the Mirage mechanic, and also the changes that they made to currency.
I somehow got conned back into this game, and having been away for more than a year, the amount of currency that is dropping in the campaign makes this game feel so much nicer.
Yes. It feels so much more currency in the campaign. Hey Belle, you know how this league's mechanic is all about wishes?
Yeah.
I wish this was a better mechanic.
Really?
What?
I love this mechanic.
Okay, so maybe I'm missing something here, but it's just me going into an area and mostly battling the same stuff over again.
With better loot?
With better rewards?
Maybe I'm just not realizing the better rewards. Like, sometimes there's better rewards, but for the most part, it doesn't feel like that.
I mean, I'm in Act 6 and I have 15 chaos.
Maybe I'm still in Act 2. I'm still in Act 2. I usually, when I play through a Path of Exile League, I do the mechanic in every single zone. And this is the first time I've ever been like, you know what? Nah, I don't need to go in there.
Wow.
Wow.
This is exactly the opposite for me. I'm so used to the league mechanic being miserable in the campaign, and if nothing else, at least this mechanic is totally functional while you're playing through the campaign and doesn't just make things more miserable for you. It will take a little bit longer because you're clearing an area twice, but you're also getting all the loot twice. You have a little control over that. I've actually been really loving it.
I guess it doesn't feel super deep. It also the other thing that, and maybe this is why I'm something different, all of the other recent league mechanics kind of build on themselves to something. You are progressing in a path towards something, and so it never felt like I was wasting my time when I was doing it in the leveling campaign, because it's well, whatever, I'm building out this tree that's going to make this other tree drop way cooler loot, and I liked that. And then but that doesn't this doesn't seem to have anything that builds upon itself, unless that's a mechanic I haven't encountered.
No, it's mostly it is what it is, but the big thing that's happening that I love is it's forcing way more content onto the maps, because all of these copious amounts of essences and shrines and lockboxes are getting forced onto the maps through the Mirage mechanic.
Wait, interesting. Is there something that forces a Mirage area to have extra content in it?
Yes, it does. Because they put mechanics on there so that it would have something to duplicate. So it would feel like, oh, okay, going in here is going to get me an extra blight, or going in here is going to get me extra essences. I've already finished the meta challenge for doing essences. Before I finished Act 4, I had gotten that many essences.
Okay, and yes, I do understand. I am seeing a lot of that. I get that.
It's just putting way more content on the campaign.
It is putting a lot of content. Although I'm kind of, maybe again, I'm starting to get a little bit I'm like I am just so far ahead of the level. Like I don't feel like I need to do more content at this level band. It doesn't give me that much XP.
mean, I am an outlier because I actually clear all the maps in the campaign. And so having this, even though it makes me take extra time to clear a map, is really fun because, like Belle said, there's so many extra things to do in every map.
I know, and I do get that. Like, I don't know. I loved the tree from and maybe again, I feel like such a weird outlier. I absolutely loved last league's lit mechanic. I loved the new breach mechanic, and I loved even the ones people hated, the defend, and then the towers and all that.
Yeah, I liked the breach mechanics too, and I mean that's still in once you get to Act 6.
And I also loved the tree and how you could like start to customize the stuff you were trying to get out of it.
Yeah, and that all still exists. It just doesn't exist until Act 6.
Okay.
And I haven't played any of those leagues, so I have no basis for comparison. I'm still in Act 4.
I don't know, like it's shifted the way that I'm looking at a lot of stuff because I've gotten so many chance orbs that I've specifically put, some chancing bases on my loot filter to try and get like a unique cloak of flames or something like that.
I should make sure white scholar's robe is on my thing because yes, I also want to try and chance into.
I've just got stacks of chance orbs and it just never stops.
Yeah.
It also seems like they did some reworking of some of the loot. Because like I'm getting way more fusings than I'm getting bindings, and it used to be the other way around. And fusings are generally way more useful.
I have not gotten any bindings, and I've gotten 6 fusings. I'm only in Act 2 though right now. I should say I'm way behind. I've been doing other stuff, but I am like also like I say I don't like the mechanic. That does not mean I'm not having fun right now.
Yeah, I'm really curious what your experience has been with Holy Strike.
Oh yeah, it very good. So I was like, what about like I have no idea what my league start plan is. I know I want to play Holy Strike. It's this new gem that's been like spoiled, but I have no idea how you obtain it. Like it could be a level like 35 gem that you only get like once you're in through Act 3. And so I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I was planning on going Absolution like at level 12. Turns out Holy Strike is what you start with. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to like go Holy Strike and never stop Holy Striking.
Yeah, Glacial Hammer was always awful, and I guess they decided to get rid of that.
Yeah, and they gave you something way better to go with it. This build feels incredibly straightforward and good. I have it currently augmented with more minion damage and summon Phantasm, which is a very funny thing. Eventually I'm going to get Living Lightning and Multi-Strike on it, which is also going to be funny.
You're just making an army of temporary minions?
I am making an army of temporary minions and having them do so much damage. And like, I'm also doing a ton of damage myself with a big war staff. And I don't have to play as an old guy in a diaper because I have cosmetics.
Yeah, by the time you put the MTX on, you can't really tell what you're playing.
Yep, I am playing a stag in Beast Hunter's armor. It's like what I always like to play this game as. It's a big reason why I like to play this game because I think this character just looks so cool. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of minions that summon themselves when I hit things in melee, and then hits things in melee when I hit things in melee, which, as we've like discussed in other games, is exactly the playstyle I want to be doing. I want to be a minion build that is like up there in the mix fighting with my minions. And right now, my single target damage feels pretty ridiculous. And that's coming from somebody who usually plays mines.
Yeah, I'm really curious to try that at some point. I didn't want to roll it as my first character, but at some point I want to play. I don't know, like I kind of want to do the Holy Slam thing, where it like hammers make hammers.
Hmm. Is that the Holy Sweep?
No, it's the Blessed Hammer or Holy Hammers, where each hammer or like each strike or each slam spawns some additional hammers, and if they kill something, it can cascade out from there. So it's kind of like a weird Holy Sunder.
Okay. I mean, right now I'm feeling both reasonably tanky, and my goal is to be very tanky with decent single target damage. And there was a pretty good video by Sir Gog that was talking about like make sure that you know what your build is good at and craft your atlas to be that. And one of the things he mentioned in there is like, for instance, if you're going in Delve, make sure you have an extremely durable build that has high single target damage. I was like, maybe I should play this as a Delver. So I'm going to try delving with this.
Cool.
Which
Yeah.
will be a first for me. And as we've discussed, I really like the Atlas from PoE 2, so maybe this will help me enjoy that.
Yeah, Delve is very much that, like the pick a node and go towards it. And there's like all kinds of stuff in Delve that you can't get from anywhere else. Also, it seems like people aren't delving that much, so from what I can tell, fossil prices are pretty high. So I'm hoping to be able to use Delve to fund anything else I want.
Ace, what are you playing this league?
Well, I want minions and I don't want to be up in the mix with them, so I am just playing SRS. And it's great. I mean, it's pretty much always been great, so there's not a lot of surprises, but especially since I've been away for so long, it's nice to just come back to something that's very comfy. And what I appreciate the most is just that with all the currency that's been dropping, I've been able to have pretty decent gear while leveling instead of feeling like I'm hoarding every possible resource and not actually finding gear or not able to adjust my gear while leveling. So I that has made everything feel a lot better.
The other thing that has made things feel better, and I didn't really appreciate it until recently, is I like there's a gambler that I can pay gold, the currency I mostly don't care about, to get specific item base at a random roll.
Yeah, that has also been extremely helpful.
Well, so what's also helped there is it seems like they've adjusted the amount of gold we're getting, because like I'm getting way more gold than I normally would at this level. So I can just be gambling all the time, trying to get like usable items out of it. And like I'm fishing for a 5 link at the moment.
Yeah, I like when I was starting to get this online, I was like, man, I really want to get like the two-handed staff and get started with this build, but there's just like no staffs are dropping for me. And I was like, wait a second, I can just like go and pay 28 gold and get a staff? Sweet. I do not care about gold. That's a that's a currency I care about even less than like my wisdom scrolls.
Yeah, Ace asked about that, and like you eventually get so much gold that like there's no reason to ever hoard it. You can
Well,
always get more.
I don't know. I will say that well, it's probably that's actually probably more true now because it used to be that your your farm income could outstrip your gold income. And like gold was a gating mechanic for me when I was like setting up my King's March last league. Now that you have to actually find mines in maps, that's probably more true.
Yeah, they did a flip to where you cannot AFK farm mirror shards all the time by just growing crops. Like they made it so the currency drops from King's March come from getting ore nodes in maps. So you actually like have to be playing the game to do it instead of just keep funding more gold. Because what people would do is they would pay for like a gold carry and then live off that for several days and never have to actually play the game and could just AFK, like do crop rotation in their or crops in their map, not map, their King's March,
Yep.
and just send off shipments and they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna make it to where you have to do the actual like active play thing to get the currency you want. And I'm okay with that. Like that seems like a very good move. Because like otherwise it kind of just felt like you had to do King's March or you were silly not to do King's March.
Yes. I'm glad that you have to interact with maps in order to continue to do King's March.
The only mirror shards I have ever seen came from shipments.
Like, I'm still going to do King's March because it's a relatively... I'm going to, like, put that on my Atlas because it's relatively reasonable. And they added Atlas nodes for it now, right?
Yeah, they've been in for a bit.
Well, but you didn't even need to use the Atlas nodes previously.
Right, because ore didn't matter. Like that's the piece that annoyed me was like I actually liked the whole mining mechanic, but
yeah, me too.
It was useless, so I never did it. Because like nothing that you wanted came from the ore.
Yeah. I appreciate how this is a generally like this is a nerf to most things, but I do think that this makes for a better game because like ultimately you are going to have to invest points there, but like I want to be able to have invest points and have those points matter because I do like King's March. Maybe I'll do King's March and Expedition because I really like Dim Calgurans.
I think they're on opposite ends of the Atlas.
Oh,
pretty sure all the King's March nodes are on the left side and all the Expedition stuff's on the right side.
I mean, there are jumps.
Yeah, you can do the wormhole thingies. I am probably going to do Breach and Delve as my first Atlas since they share a side.
Oh, I do I also like Breach. Is Breach on the side of King's March?
No, Breach is on the Delve side. So Breach is on the right side. Because I think it's Breach, Legion, Betrayal, Expedition, Harvest, and Delve on the right side. Then everything else is on the left side. But I mean, you'll eventually get multiple trees, so you can have one for King's March, you can have one for Expedition, whatever. I mean, usually by now I'm at least Act 8 or so, and then a lot of times I'll finish up the campaign while the podcast is going on. But I am so far off that pace because I didn't really get to play much yesterday because reasons. So like I had a medical thing that preempted me from being there at League Start. Then we had a tornado that passed within a mile of the house. So that made for an exciting last night.
Yikes.
I'm glad by the time it got here, it was just really loud thunder.
Yeah. I was hoping it would not come down or go up and give you problems. So, what Survivors game are you playing?
I don't know. Am I playing a Survivors game? Help, Ace. I am playing so much Everything is Crab.
I am not sure that Everything is Crab is a Survivors game.
I wasn't sure either.
Because you do actually have to use your attacks. They're not all auto attacks.
They're not all auto attacks. I am using these attacks. I am attacking things. It kind like, but when I look at it, like when I squint, it kind of looks like a Survivors game.
I mean, a little bit, but
I'm periodically leveling up with a random selection of 3 powers that I'm adding to my character.
That's true, but you're not wandering around the map with a swarm of spells and or weapons spinning around you. Mostly.
It's true. Anyways, me and my son have been just playing an absolute ton of this game. It's currently only a demo, but there's a lot there.
It's a beefy demo. I've been playing the heck out of it as well, and I have not found the end of the demo, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I've been playing through difficulty levels. I've been playing a bunch of the challenges. There's a lot there for a demo, and it's real fun.
Have you fully Carsonized yet?
No, I've been avoiding becoming crab for the most part. Uh, One of my favorite play styles has been to take the mutation that makes me more powerful if I don't have any attacks in any of my slots.
Oh, I don't even think I've seen that mutation.
That's a fun one. I think you can't even have a dash. Like, but then you what you have is powerful. That's been fun. I love all of my hideous children. Like, the weird combinations of scales and shells and antlers and whatever.
The funniest run I had was when somehow my first level up included negative percentages to your size increase your dodge,
Oh yeah.
and I just got real small. So the other thing I haven't done yet, but I really want to, is I want to figure out how to play a like pacifist run through this game.
So I have done this, and there's a couple of ways. So one thing I discovered is that if you avoid the bosses long enough, they will eventually give up and run away.
Hilarious.
So there's actually a second bar under their health bar that just is essentially a timer, and they will get madder and madder while you're not killing them. But then eventually they will just wander off. And I think they continue to wander around the map. So you can still encounter them again later. But yeah, I did the pacifist thing. I got the skill that gives you extra evolution for eating meat that you didn't kill.
Oh, the scavenger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think I think my successful run, I got multiple of the various minion, charm abilities. So there's at least three at least three different types of charms. I don't know, maybe four. There's one charm on hit. There's a charm just as a pulse every few seconds. There's a targeted charm that's one of the specials, and I think there's a charm every time you eat food.
Oh, interesting.
So I got a couple of those. Not the ability one, because the active ability one, because I was trying to play without too much on my bars. And yeah, just wandering around, and pretty much everything around me is getting charmed, and then it goes and kills stuff, and then I eat all the meat that I didn't kill and get extra evolution, and I leveled up a lot in that run. But I love all the weird combinations of critters. I love the fact that when you save a photo of your critter, it actually makes a little animated gif of it bouncing
Mhm.
around. It's super cute.
It's super cute. It's really fun and pretty, like it definitely makes you want to like keep going.
Yes, very much. And I've been enjoying the challenges, just because I've played through it a bunch of times on the regular modes, and the challenges just add a little extra spice.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. We got started. Like we're starting still with the dry age, so we're not through much of that. Like we're still only on pressure 3. But yeah, like there's just it's one of those games where I was like, I'm gonna have to keep this on my radar, and now I'm like, this game, like even without being fully released, we're playing a ton of it.
Yeah, just let me give you money right now. I
This
want
is
to give you
enough.
money.
This game is as of right now enough.
Yeah, I think I definitely beat Pressure 5. I think I'm not sure I've beaten 6, and I've done a couple of the challenges, one of which is a pacifist run.
Oh, okay. Does it tune your drops to encourage you to be pacifist?
I mean, if I remember right, it forbids the things you can't do.
Okay.
But I can't remember because I've done at this point I've done pacifist runs multiple different times, so I can't remember exactly how the challenge one works. So, have you become crab?
I have not. I've only Carsonized a little bit. I really like the pincers. And then we've also got the arthropod legs.
I don't know that I've seen the arthropod legs.
It requires you to get 4 legs.
I mostly haven't gotten legs.
Yeah, it's one of the like divergent ones that you usually get from a boss dropping.
Hmm.
But it's one of the red enhancements, and obviously it increases your speed a bunch. But then if you level it up to level 3, then you have 4 legs.
Cool.
And at that point, it gives you similar to the beak, how the beak has a divergent evolution.
Hmm.
The legs also have a divergent evolution once you get that many.
Nice.
And one
I
of
I have mostly taken the like alpha
oh yeah,
pack leader one or tentacles because I'm me and I cannot resist tentacles.
yeah. I mean, I've got to shout out arms, mostly because if you get level 3 arms, like I'm like, who is eating that food? Oh, it's me. I can reach that far to get that food.
You can also have a prehensile tail that will work that way too. Just eating all the food from a mile away. And cheek pouches also super handy.
I haven't used cheek pouches yet. So how do those work?
So if you're not very fast at eating, you can just run over something when you have a cheek pouch, and you'll just pick the whole thing up and eat it over time. So you don't have to
Oh,
stand there while you eat.
that's really good.
And
Yeah.
you can upgrade it so that you can cram more food into your cheek pouch.
And do you just keep eating the food while you're moving?
Yep.
That's cool.
This game sounds so nuts just listening to the two of you talk about it that I feel like I need to pick it up.
I downloaded it when you started talking about it, and this game's nuts.
It's extremely silly. It it's a demo. It is completely free and everybody who is listening to this should download it and mess with it because it is basically an entire game. I don't know what I'm going to be paying for when they let me pay them.
More bosses, probably.
Probably. And eternal mode, which I am looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I want to see how crazy I can get this guy.
Because it is a little sad that you killed 3 bosses and then your run stops.
I have to imagine that once you kill 3 bosses, there's got to be a difficulty in figuring out how to like that. The joke is, am I playing a Vampire Survivors game? What I actually feel like I'm playing is like a PoE style ARPG roguelike.
Kind of. Maybe that's why it's so compelling to me. Also, I like various, creature building games. This just scratches a whole lot of itches for me.
But like your character can feel very different from other characters, and there's a bunch of different ways to play.
Yes. And everything that I have tried has been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Games like this, sometimes I fall in the trap of finding something that I really like and aiming for that every time. And in this game, yeah, I like having minions. I like a few specific things, but if they don't come up early, I'll just pick something else, and that's probably gonna be fun too. I had a run where I was like, spitting poison at everything. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck the deal is with all of the mushrooms.
Yeah, well, you can get better at identifying them.
Yes, and you can spawn tons more of them.
Of course you can. I mean, did seem to imply that you can be in some way fungus yourself. I don't know. Maybe that's the other thing that they could very easily add to another game is even more like divergent lines that require more specific requirements because they've already got that started in here.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this thing is a demo. If you are within the sound of my voice, you should go download this demo.
Will do.
I just learned how to wag my tail.
Wait, I didn't know you could wag your tail.
It's
yeah.
It's an upgrade you can get every few seconds. You can try to charm every animal within a radius.
Oh, I've never gotten that one. I've only gotten Whimper as my charm mechanic.
Yeah, tails are kind of great.
They unlock a whole bunch. They don't seem super good at the start, but yes.
Yeah, they unlock a bunch of things.
Suddenly that reminds me of the whole Christopher Walken wants a tail thing. I forget which comedian spent a lot of time with Christopher Walken, but apparently that's the thing that he really wants more than anything is a tail so that people can tell his mood based on his tail.
That would be awesome. And now I have toe beans.
Yep.
This is silly.
What is the ECCC?
It's the Emerald City Comic Con, which is why I haven't played nearly as much Path of Exile as I would have liked to. But it's going on this weekend. There's been it's interesting. It's a very everything starts at these two buildings, which is where PAX is. Well, PAX primarily started at these two buildings. Then they built another convention center. But like most of PAX still operates in those other two buildings. And they funnel you through those two buildings at the start. And boy, it did leave me with a poor impression of ECCC when I like got funneled through these buildings where it's like, here's your badge, go upstairs, see a whole bunch of booths for like famous people you could buy autographs from. And I was like, okay, that's not really what like I would expect my first introduction be. And then it's like the next area is a vendor area, but it's a relatively small vendor area, like compared to a bunch of other conventions I've been to. I was very confused. Eventually I managed to like, I was kind of like, oh, did I like get myself into something I didn't realize? Then I went over to the other building. The other buildings where basically everything fun is happening. So that's where we've spent most of the time. There's a very, very large artist alley, which I did not get through very much of. Like a whole bunch of like, it's very funny because a whole bunch of famous people in the comics industry are in the artist alley and you don't have to pay to talk to them.
Yeah, I know Gail Simone is there this week.
Yeah, Gail Simone's just there, and like Jim Zub is there, and yeah,
a whole bunch. Gail Simone and her husband are wonderful, wonderful people, and delightful to talk to.
Great. Just incredibly great.
And but yeah, like there's a whole bunch of vendors in the basement area. There's a ton of cosplay, so much cosplay. I'm realizing that while I go to a lot of other conventions, this is definitely the most cosplay convention I've been to. So I went as Fred and my kid went as Hornet today, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then I did get to demo an indie game, which I kind of want to shout out, which is Reclamation, a claymation stop motion Metroidvania game somebody in the Seattle area is working on. and they had like all of their clay figures at the booth, and like apparently they're like making the clay and uploading it into Maya to model. It looks very fun. But yeah, mostly been playing a lot of board games. A standout is Hummingbird, which is such a clever idea. Basically, you have a series of different colored hourglasses that you, at the start of the game, you flip them over and put them into like these chutes. And the tops and bottoms of the hourglasses are like metal, and you have these two hummingbird minions that have magnets on the bottom of them. And so you like fly your hummingbirds around to the various ones, and one of your actions is move a hummingbird, and the other action is check to see if the hourglass has all of its sand emptied out. If it has all of its sand emptied out, you flip it over, put it back in, and you take a point of whatever value that hourglass is. But there's like there's 4 30-second hourglasses, 2-minute hourglasses, 2 2-minute hourglasses, 2 3-minute hourglasses, 2 5-minute hourglasses, and a 10-minute hourglass. And like there are different points associated with all of those colors, and the game ends when any color of point token runs out. And there's only one point for the 10-minute hourglass, so it's definitely going to be over in 10 minutes. But in the same time, you're like flitting these little hummingbirds around and like checking to see if, is there enough stuff in here? And if there isn't, you lose some points and your hummingbird has to come home. And then play passes back and forth. It's real time, but like if somebody is taking too long, you're supposed to give them a countdown because you're supposed to be moving very quick as you play. And I thought that was super clever. But yeah, it's another comic. This is not the first Comic-Con I've been to, but this is the first Emerald City Comic-Con, and it's been a lot of fun.
I always
What
hear
is
lots of good stuff about
Kolibri?
Emerald City.
Kolibri is the arguably the finest hummingbird-based shooter on the 32X. So I think I talked about, I've talked about going back and playing a bunch of games that have been on my backlog for ages, like in this case, literally decades, that I just like heard about but like never played because from like 2001 to like 2015 or so, I was basically just playing MMOs and barely played much outside of that. So there's like a ton of games that I missed. But one of these is, it's been a running gag in Penny Arcade for like forever. This game is really, and I've been playing honestly more of it than anything else lately. It's just gorgeous. Like for a game that existed on the 32X, it's got this really sharp art style, and you fly around as a hummingbird doing like, I don't know, fantasy hummingbird things. You're like you're flying around these like really beautifully painted levels. Sometimes you're like shooting down various critters with your, I don't know, you get like magic hummingbird powers. It's got a very like weird ugly duckling thing going on where at the start of the game, the little intro section of the game, you're like an unpopular hummingbird, and then you find a magic flower and get, I don't know, crazy hummingbird powers, and you then use those hummingbird powers to help all of the other hummingbirds you find who are then friends with you. But like it's also I don't want to call it a bullet hell shooter, but it's definitely like a shooter of that class.
Is it a top-down like shoot 'em up?
No, it's like Galaga. It's like
Yeah, okay.
side-scrolling, but there's like exploration levels in it. And it's just interesting because like one of the things that I found from playing a whole bunch of like NES and Super Nintendo games that I hadn't played previously is that honestly a lot of them are kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like I've played enough side-scrolling beat 'em up platformers now that I don't feel like I need to see very many more of them, if any. And like, yeah, some of them have like a neat skin on them, and some of them are not doing things very well for the sake of, I don't know, we got an IP and let's just crank it out. But there's a dearth of things that are doing something actually feeling. And like Kolibri is really neat because it is. It definitely took the like the side-scrolling shooter model, and has done this like very weird other thing with it. And it does have elements of like, yep, you're doing a side-scrolling level with shooting, but it also does this like, it's like proto open world exploration where you're like almost solving environmental puzzles in maps that you're just wandering through and exploring. And that's just something that like nothing else was doing at the time. And honestly, I don't see a lot of even now. Like shooters went this other direction, but the idea of like flying around to space and exploring and doing shooter stuff in there, and also you're a hummingbird. Like I don't know, the it's bizarre, but it's actually really neat, and I've found it really compelling. So it's been on my list of like, oh, I really gotta try this game has been referenced a bunch of times. I should try it and see.
Yeah, the whole hummingbird thing makes me think of the cute 'em up genre, where it is a side-scrolling shooter, but the thing you are piloting is a non-traditional ship of some sort, or some sort of a creature, or like with Cotton, it's a witch on a broom.
Yeah, and I think that there was this is one of those I would have to defer to Ash things, but like I don't know if it predates Hoto or the other way around or like similar, but it's definitely in the same vibe.
I think Paroidius was the first one I ever played that was a cute 'em up. But it was basically just Gradius with a reskin more than anything.
And this one is neat because it's definitely not just a reskin. It's doing different stuff, and I think that's cool. And I'm like looking for I don't know. I'm looking at a lot of, there's this like resurgence of retro style gaming, and I'm also kind of looking at like, hey, what we've talked about in the MMO space, like, oh yeah, there were a whole bunch of like weird experiments that were going on, and then World of Warcraft basically calcified everything into the same model. But like, what if it had been something else?
Which evolutionary paths were abandoned that might still have some goodness in them?
Yeah, and like, and I've sort of admittedly myopically looked at MMOs for this, but because first person shooters got Thief, and Thief is like, I'm gonna forgive me extolling the virtues of Thief yet again, but like, even if you don't like stealth gameplay at all, what Thief did was say, hey, you could do something different with this type of game, and you get all kinds of interesting stuff that would never have existed if you didn't have this initial like, what if you didn't just run around blazing guns in a first person shooter? What if you did different stuff? And like, you get Thief, you get Mirror's Edge, you get Gone Home, you get all of these things out of that evolutionary branch. Like, what other genres have these like untapped, interesting places you could go?
Like, even in the MMO space, like, one of the things that I always felt could have had a place but never really evolved was Auto Assault, if you remember that.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where basically it's like, here's a Mad Max MMO with car combat.
Yeah, like, there's so many interesting places you can go with that are just hard to do in a classic I walk around and hit things with my sword MMO.
But like, I feel like now we've got the tech to make a really interesting game out of it that we didn't at the time.
Yeah.
Because like, if you, Horizon? No, Forza Horizon. If you took an engine like that, but made it a run around the world, blowing up vehicles, collecting parts to build out your vehicle experience, like, that could be a really cool game.
Yeah, there's just so much interesting, and a lot of it would have been in that. I mean, it was part of the reason why I wanted to like pick up Sega Saturn and PS2 and so forth, because that's where a lot of that weird experimentation was happening. And yeah, there's neat ideas in there. And I don't know,
Yeah,
it's just cool to see like some of the weird experiment. Like Arx Fatalis is a game I picked up and replayed recently that was just like, oh, this is doing such a neat thing that you'd never be able to get, like, that just nobody worked with from there. But like I think a modern Arx Fatalis in VR would be an actually incredible experience. Because like Arx Fatalis was for anybody not familiar, was a first person like swords and sorcery game. But the big thing was that to cast spells, you kind of hit a modifier and then drew the spell with your mouse. And the power of the spell was often determined by how accurate you were. You were able to draw the symbol, which like sounds awful at first, but the symbols weren't very complicated. And you got to the point where you could start mixing multiple spells. Like, yeah, that upped the complexity of the shapes you were drawing, but you were getting more effects. So there's this like, as you got better at drawing, you could just whip out really cool spells and do neat stuff with it that like I actually think would work in VR. One of the few times you'll hear me say that. But yeah, like that's just a thing that I haven't seen anybody else do. And like Akami did a little bit of that kind of stuff with the drawing, but like what a it's a whole control scheme that was very different. And like it elsewhere it boiled down to we put this on your hotbar. But like what if we had done something different?
And I think really it was the 2010s that kind of solidified a lot of that stuff with some big hits.
Yeah.
Skyrim and such locked in what that looks like for that style of an adventure game. Because like while Elder Scrolls existed prior to Skyrim was the game that like really kind of solidified it for a bunch of other games.
Yeah. And like Burnout is another one of those games that I'm just like
shocks me that just died.
Yeah, this game is so cool. And not only did it just die, like nobody else was tried to do anything with it. And that's so weird to me. Because I feel like you could do so many different Burnout style games.
Like, has there been a recent Need for Speed game either?
Was there?
Like the last one I played was the police versus bandit one.
It looks like Need for Speed has actually like their most recent release is 2022.
Okay, so that didn't die.
What?
So that didn't die. It's just that it left the zeitgeist that I was familiar with.
Yeah. Like it's I really like arcade racers. Oh, and they did like street art inspired cell shading effects with it. Okay, maybe I kind of want to play this game. That's cool idea. But yeah, just digging up old games and seeing like what cool weird stuff did I forget or like not think about
or
for
miss.
A while. The what?
Or just miss.
Yeah, or just miss. Like there's a ton that I missed. One of the things that's on my list to play is the Halo series. Because like Sour Grapes kept me away from the first two, and then I played like what's the Noble Team one?
ODST?
ODST. No, ODST. I played like some of that one.
I mean, the PvE campaign was pretty fun, and you could play it multiplayer.
Yeah, like I was in a very different like shooter mindset at that time. Plus, I was very bitter that the game that they had promoted as the the PC shooter forever for years wound up being an Xbox exclusive.
I mean, the Mac shooter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you should definitely check out Halo 1's single player campaign so that you can understand why every single modern FPS is the way it is. Like, why are there vehicle sections, or like why did we go to like all of these special sections and all of these missions? Yeah, Halo 1.
I got news for you. That ain't Halo 1. That is Half-Life 2, sir. That is why we have all of that. Probably also Half-Life 1, if I'm honest.
I mean, there was also some of that in Vanilla Unreal.
Also Vanilla Unreal, to be fair.
I have never played Vanilla. Oh, Unreal.
Yeah, actually Unreal, not Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, not Unreal Tournament, but like Unreal.
I was about to say, Halo definitely predates Half-Life 2.
Sorry, Half-Life 1 is what I was thinking.
I think of Half-Life 1 as having like puzzle sections, but not like not like get in the vehicle sections.
It had like proto versions of that.
But like the fact that such a big part of Half-Life's both PvE and PvP were like big extended, like, hey, get into this vehicle and fly around and shoot people with like a tank or the Warthog, and then figure out how to use Warthogs and tanks in PvP and make it fun.
I was really sad. The other game that I loved that apparently nobody else did, so we never got any more of them, was Battlefield 2142.
I played
That was
Battlefield
the
1942.
futuristic one, right?
This was the one. This was the like sci-fi battlefield game with like mechs and VTOL like low orbit spacecraft, and so cool.
The shooter branch that I hate that got pruned is the enemy territory branch, either Wolfenstein or Quake enemy territory.
Yep.
Like hyper focused, objective, role based gameplay where like your shooter score doesn't matter, but whether or not your team's like completes an objective, it's more than just like set a bomb.
Yeah,
you know, because it used to be like
TF2 had some of the role stuff, but not really as much of the like interesting mission stuff.
Yeah, like the one that I remember the most was like you had to guard a truck as it went to the bank, and then you had to like blow the vault and steal the gold from the vault, load it into the truck, and then escort the truck off the map. And the other team was trying to stop you from doing all those things. So it was all about like holding the objectives and like keeping it moving forward. And other games have had similar things, but I don't know, like it was just the level of detail of that and the stuff that you could do on the map with building emplacements and stuff like that was just really cool in the enemy territory series.
I was about to say, this does sound very much like what Overwatch does.
Overwatch is like the sanded off the edges version of this thing.
Yeah, like enemy territory, you really did need to like put together a balanced party because your objectives required people from different roles.
Yeah, like you needed an engineer to complete this piece, but you also needed people that were like medics that were dropping health packs so you could stay alive. But then you also needed some of the heavier, like tactical gunner type people to keep you alive. Yeah, it was interesting. And you could shift roles every time you respawned. So you could pop to whatever you needed. But like I was actually like on a competitive clan for that. And it was fun. Like we'd do like scrimmages and stuff like that. And it was really interesting, but it just kind of died after Quake enemy territory.
Yeah. What I can't remember is I feel like Rainbow Six, like the Rainbow Six series kind of did a little bit of that for a while.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe Rainbow Six Siege, maybe.
Yeah. Because that was definitely a thing for a bit. And what's the game I was thinking? Tribes had a very weird version of that, and I'm very sad that we don't have more tribes.
But again, that's another evolutionary branch that got pruned.
Yeah, I feel like modern matchmaking systems would be so good for tribes.
If you could get enough people to play tribes to make modern matchmaking, like you have to have that critical mass of players.
Yeah, but I bet you could do like, I don't know. I feel like there's a bonkers tribes inspired game that you could make with modern shooter aesthetics, like modern shooter concepts.
Well, and like Helldivers is really the modern successor to, God, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but it was an SOE game that was their shooter. You know what I'm talking about? Where there were like 3 factions and...
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of it. PlanetSide?
Yes, I think. Yeah, PlanetSide 2 specifically. I feel like, you know, Helldivers 2 is now kind of the spiritual successor to that. Except for it's more PoE or PvP or PvE focused than pure PvP focused, but it's doing a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of like interesting offshoots. Like nobody but Nintendo makes 3D platform. And like,
when at one point everyone had one.
Yeah.
And like there were really interesting versions of it. Like I remember liking, I think Toomba, is that the name of it? Or like
I don't know if I played that one.
it was like your little cave person type thing.
Yeah.
Had like pink hair or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I remember
then
that one vaguely.
Clona or Cloana or
Klonoa? The game
Klonoa.
that's coming
Yeah.
out again?
Yeah. That was a fun 3D platformer.
And like I think it was Kodra mentioning the other week, like Zelda game, like the 3D Zeldas prior to Breath of the Wild
Mhm.
Yep.
is another one of those, like, I feel like there's so many things you could do with that I just don't see.
So maybe instead of making the, 30th up and coming extraction shooter, like mine some of these other genres.
I mean, to some extent, I just sort of wonder, like, if you're hitting that, if you're a game investor hitting that like middle ground between, we want a guaranteed success, but we don't want to drown in the genre of the moment, that if we start making a game now, we're going to be lost. Like, you could do worse as far as places to be inspired by.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be clear. If you are a game developer, make what you are most passionate about. Like, especially if you're an indie dev. I don't know that chasing a trend is a good idea if you don't have an idea that will help you stand out in that trend.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, or unless you have a really, really good reason to think that you can do it better, and boy, that reason had better be just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, every so often, there's somebody who's like, no, we can actually do this better, and they're right. But like,
I mean, that used to be Blizzard's thing, right? We can
Yeah.
do that thing, but we can do it better.
Yep. I mean, all of the modern extraction shooters are, hey, we basically let, Tarkov and similar figure out this genre, and now we're just going to put development money into a proven concept. And so, like, yeah, now you've got Arc Raiders, now you've got Marathon, now you've got insert all of these other things that people are making here, some of which inspire some really cool ideas. Like, I think Dune Awakening is very much built on extraction shooters as a concept, but like is doing something very different with it.
Yeah.
I also think that like your difference that you're pushing can be like, we want to do this but with a unique art style. Like, because I have definitely seen a bunch of that come around, and I think a lot of those are pretty interesting.
Yeah, you do all kinds of stuff with a cool art style.
Like I was saying, like there's definitely, I was able to take notice because it was like, we're doing a Metroidvania but with claymation.
Is it Clay Fighter?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Clay
That's
Fighters.
I was like, this isn't the first time.
This
that
is not
somebody
the
has
first
done this.
time.
No, we like there for a short period of time there was like claymation games. There was Clay Fighters and there was the Neverhood.
Well, part of it too is that like there was this period of time where early 3D games were like rotoscoped actual models, because like most of the models in like Doom, for example, were physical sculptures that were scanned. Like that was a taste of the month, and then it like faded from history.
I mean, technically, Fallout was a claymation game, in part.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Herald was claymation. But yeah, no, a really distinctive art style that'll cover some sins. It'll go a long way.
But you have to 100% commit to it.
Yes.
Has anybody? Has anybody? Because I'm curious, played Marathon?
Not yet.
I have no
not.
interest.
Nope.
Because like I've gone back and forth on just like how I felt about the news of this game. Because at first I was like, that's a really cool art style, and then they seem to have stolen their art style. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Into the original creator of that art style has said, we have come to an agreement that I'm actually very cool with. I support this game, which I find surprising. to like, oh, the development of this game sounds like a mess, to like, oh, it's out and people, I'm surprised at how many positive reviews I'm seeing.
Like, I know folks on the team, and I wish the game a lot of luck, but it's just not my sort of a genre.
Yeah, I mean that's also 100% reasonable. It is a very specific thing that it is.
Is it? So I don't know this. Is it doing the open PvP?
It's Arc Raiders done by Bungie.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I am willing to try it, but obviously that makes me more skeptical.
Yeah, no, it's way less PvE than Arc Raiders is.
Oh, it's less PvE than Arc Raiders. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's mostly a PvP game.
Oh.
Like, you are going to die a lot. And they have like pre-built loadouts for you to use because you lost all your stuff. Like, yeah, no, it's one of those.
But
games.
is the entire combat PvP, or are there like NPC enemies you're still fighting?
There are some NPC enemies, but you know, like when it comes to actually extracting, you're dealing with players.
Oh.
And like you can just get sniped in the middle of the map by other players.
Well, it's interesting because like I've been playing, I've gone back and played more Arc Raiders, and their new matchmaking stuff has honestly been great for my experience.
Yeah, like had they been leaning into that art style with a more Destiny adjacent play style, I absolutely would have been on board.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's totally.
But it's mostly a PvP game.
Somebody is gonna make a game like that's PvE and bang.
Yeah, like it seems very much What If Tarkov, but stylish.
I mean, yeah, you'll get a small but devoted audience. I hope that they're not counting on it to be the next Destiny.
Yeah, but like this is kind of the challenge that I think that I don't know. This is what frustrates me with where we are right now, where if a game doesn't release and makes literally all of the money, it's considered a failure.
Yeah, I mean, it often feels like their quality of the game released is totally irrelevant, whether or not that studio is going to stick around.
And it sounds like as a studio, Bungie is basically placing all of their eggs in Marathon.
That seems like a bad idea.
Because they've delayed any content that was in the pipeline for Destiny 2 for a bit, because they had to pull all hands onto Marathon. So I wish them the best of luck.
Also on my Has Anyone Played This list is Copycat.
No, and I am not even aware of it.
No, but I have seen it and was intrigued.
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know, I've played a few URA cat games that I've enjoyed. I don't know if this one is like, I feel like this one might be a little bit too real for people who are into cats.
Yeah, this one looked like it was gonna make me really sad, so I've been hesitant to try it.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, it sounds like they intend for you to be sad, so yeah.
Croak and other Steamfest demos.
So, speaking of games that have really cool art styles, Croak was another Steamfest Next Fest demo I checked out, which was basically you are a toad going around and doing platforming. You have a jump, and then you have a tongue that will allow you to grapple to a wall. And then when you grapple to the wall, you do a little like bounce up. But if you're holding down the opposite direction when you hit the wall, you'll do a big bounce off of it, getting a bunch of speed. And then if you hit another wall in this mode, you'll just sort of bounce back and forth. And so there's a whole bunch of like cool bouncy platforming things going on, and it's very much doing the Cuphead style of art, like kind of that old cartoony, very like everything is always bouncy. And when I saw Cuphead, I was really excited because I thought the art style looked really cool, and then it was a boss rush game, and I never really got into it because of that. But boy, I will absolutely play a Cuphead that is a very cool platformer.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really excited for this. And I spent a bunch of time on it trying to get a bunch of as many of the like gold medals as I could, like trying to figure like it's definitely a game that's going to be very fun to optimize as well. Like you're gonna play the same level over and over again and like try and get it to the point where you can do it in a certain amount of time to get a gold coin and also do it in like 0 deaths to get a gold coin. But and had a fun boss that also felt very Cuphead but was more platforming adjacent. And then I played a couple of other demos. The only one I would call out is like Solar Volt, which is a game where it is a top-down isometric platformer. And I can't think of a ton of these games. Apparently, according to Ash, this is a style of game that was very popular on the GBA, and he mostly didn't have kind things to say about them. But I thought this game was pretty fun. It's got like a fun movement and a very cute furry art style that I liked a lot. But yeah, I thought Next Fest was a really good time. I thought there was a lot of cool games being shown there, and the demos I played, like Everything is Crab, definitely takes the cake, is the winner for me. But there's a lot of other fun stuff.
Cool. So I don't have a lot to say about this topic, which is good because we're running out of time. But I have been playing an excessive amount of World of Warcraft this past week, especially prior to the launch of the Path of Exile season. And as part of that, I was gearing a character up and throwing myself at a bajillion D random heroics. And I don't know what happened, but the general vibe of the WoW dungeon community seems to have chilled the hell out since the last time I played. And I have been told that this phenomenon kind of happened between, so basically from Dragonflight onwards, because they did a bunch of things to, I don't know if I talked about this last week, where they've created like multiple paths to the same goal to where you just play the type of content that you want, and there are no such thing as quote unquote raid rewards anymore. There's just tiers of loot, and there's high end versions of all the activities. So if you like
Wild.
delve the single player content, you can just do harder and harder versions of delve to get gear. If you like to raid, you can get, raid gear that way. If you like to do mythics, you can get mythic gear, the same gear that way. And like all these things can be turned into set pieces if you so choose. So maybe that had part of it, but I've also been told that the elitist community has mostly left retail WoW and has settled as a malignant tumor in the classic community.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Feels like there is a serious overlap between elitist jerks and toxically nostalgic, crowd. So yeah.
But like it's been a shockingly chill experience, like running content to get gear, and maybe that all changes once you transfer over into mythics, but at least grinding out week 1 heroics was pretty chill, and I ran a lot of them because for whatever reason I could not get a pair of boots to drop to save my life until I publicly complained about it. Then the very next run dropped a pair of boots.
That's how it works.
And you can't game that because then it doesn't work. but if you genuinely complain about it, it will prove you wrong. But yeah, no, it's been an enjoyable time leveling in the content. But also, I'm gonna now play a bunch of PoE, so I probably won't play much more of Midnight. But I do at least have one character reasonably geared to start doing the raid whenever LFR opens up, at least. Any quickie topics anybody has?
I just wanted to say, well, you were mentioning that in PoE you couldn't brick yourself. I definitely had my first Jin in the first map open up on the Fire Fury guy.
Okay.
And that's definitely a way to brick a level 2 character.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. Well, that is probably a show.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick.
No,
Sorry.
go for it.
Sorry. Pokopia is super cute. I highly recommend everybody, if you're thinking about trying Pokopia, give it a shot because it is super adorable.
I mean,
And
it looks super adorable.
it's so easy to just, I'll play for a few minutes and then like an hour has gone by.
Oh boy.
So look forward to that.
I have recently jumped back into Pokemon Go for the first time in like 9 years because my
Oh,
son
goodness.
is into Pokemon now, and so it's a good way to get him interested in going for a walk with me because we both need to walk more. There is
Well,
so much stuff in that game than there was when, back when it was new.
Oh, yeah.
We've started watching Pokemon Horizons, the anime. My son's ability to name every single Pokemon that comes on screen is a little bit concerning for me. I definitely do not know the most about Pokemon in this household anymore.
My son has far surpassed me because I know all the Gen 1 still.
Yep.
I'm pretty good on Gen 2. And once you get past that, I'm kind of iffy. Whereas he has a big old thick Pokemon guide that he picked up at the Scholastic Book Fair that runs through all the way up through Sword and Shield, I think. And yeah, he knows them all.
Yes. We have the one, we got the updated one that runs through Paldea. So yes.
He was real excited when I showed him the video for Winds and Waves. It was like, oh man, I'm going to need a new book.
Yep.
Like, all right.
Oh, that's adorable.
By the way, if you haven't checked out Pokemon Horizons, I recommend it. This is a new take on the Pokemon anime, and it's quite fun.
Main thing I know about it is there's new Pikachu, and he's a captain.
There's Captain Pikachu, captain of the airship.
He's got a cool hat.
He does have a cool hat.
Because you can't have a Pokemon cartoon without Pikachu.
It was really funny because I was like, kind of like, how are they gonna like do this? Like, they clearly were like, okay, we're gonna have new trainers. The main character that you're introduced immediately, like, is her partner Pokemon is Sprigatito, and this is adorable because Sprigatito is great.
Sprigatito is delightful. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But then I was like, oh man, like, it's going to be weird to have a Pokemon anime and there's no Pikachu in it. Like, that is the Pokemon mascot character. Like, how do you do that?
The answer is you don't.
And the answer is you introduce somebody who clearly, like, you don't even realize that what's going on until much later, but like Pikachu's trainer mostly uses a Charizard for the most part of it, and never actually acknowledges the fact that he is Pikachu's trainer. Pikachu is the captain. You should defer to the captain.
Yeah, well, that's probably a show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.